Hey, it's Mailbag Wednesday. Lots of questions and comments about what Eloy Jiménez said regarding his intentions to play right field for the Chicago White Sox this season. Could he really be option A? Does the recent hype video get you excited for the season, or is it the same stuff just in a different package? The Chicago White Sox already had a difficult job of earning back your trust. Recent allegations surrounding Mike Clevinger have made things even more challenging.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit fanduel.com/lockedon today to get started. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong die-hard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk off-season White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Welcome back to Locked On White Sox. One more episode this week on Thursday, and then we will have 3 next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be back up to 5 episodes a week once spring training gets underway, just about 3 weeks away. Thanks again for all those new subscribers on our YouTube channel. Thanks for passing this podcast along to other White Sox fans in your life. Hey, it's Mailbag Wednesday. You can always get those comments and suggestions in at lockedonsox@gmail.com. And boy, several fans asking all about Eloy Jiménez. He made himself available to the media on Monday. And boy, he was very clear with his intentions. A lot of questions coming in. Of course, we've got this Mike Clevinger news that broke. We're going to just update what we have on Clevinger and also that Sox hype video. How excited are you now with this season? There's a lot going on all of a sudden, and the public relations department of the Chicago White Sox are going to be very busy in the next coming days and weeks. So I had a question here from Jeremy, and this might have been off of the previous Locked On Sox episode where I talked about maybe Gavin Sheets is the best option. If he completely rakes in spring training, he's mashing the ball, and it looks like he figured out something at the plate. Maybe Oscar Colas can go to AAA to start the season, get some extra at-bats. And Jeremy wrote and said, hey, could the best case scenario actually be that Eloy Jiménez plays right field and Sheets maybe is the DH? And, to piggyback on that, I had an alternate version from Michaela, who said, what do you think really of Eloy's declaration to the media? I mean, strong intentions from Jimenez. Could Yasmani Grandal be relegated to DH? Appreciate the comments and questions, Jeremy, Michaela. So Eloy Jiménez made himself available to the media on Monday and made his intentions known. He wants to be in the outfield this season. Here's some direct quotes from Jiménez. Last year, when I was DHing more than playing the outfield, it was because I got surgery, and I understood that. But this year, I've been working really hard to play the outfield more than DH. So I don't really think that I'm going to accept it, because if I'm working hard, I'm going to get better, and I want to play in the outfield. I'm really preparing myself to play more games in the outfield than DH, Jimenez said. I've been working hard in every part, and I feel really good. I think this year is going to be a really good year because if I can stay healthy, I can do a lot of things. I'm really working hard every single day to play more games and help the team. This was Eloy Jiménez on last year's disappointment of the season and just himself. Last year was a tough year because we have everything and we didn't make it. That was one of the reasons that I started working really hard because I feel if I was healthy, I can help the team more. That's why I'm really right now. I'm really motivated. In my mind, I just say I need to be healthy because I know if I'm healthy, I can help in my way. That last part is something to remember there because I know if I'm healthy, I can help in my way. I think that's an important part. And I don't know if he meant it to be an important part the way I see it. So Pedro Grifol has spoken a lot about healthy communication during his 3 months on the job. It sounds like Grifol and Jimenez have healthy communication, and Grifol has been in contact with Jimenez this offseason about taking reps in right field. Now, to me, from a fan's perspective, after watching Eloy Jiménez try to play outfield the last couple of seasons, Pedro Grifol asking Eloy Jiménez to take reps in right field after the Sox signed Andrew Benintendi, that to me is kind of just something nice you say to somebody, right? It's an empty gesture. Pedro Grifol just reaching out to have some positive conversation with Eloy Jiménez. Now, Eloy has made his intentions clear for a while now. He does not want to be a permanent DH at 25, 26 years old. I get that. I think the White Sox organization, they've created this situation, this cloudy, messy situation. Right field is really up for grabs right now. The White Sox did not go out and get a veteran, a proven right fielder like they did with left field. That's been figured out already. If they did that, okay, if they went out and they got a right fielder, a proven veteran right fielder, then the message to Eloy would have been hammered home. You are the DH. We need you healthy. You know how important you are to this ball club. You've said it yourself, and we can't take any unnecessary risks. We learned our lessons. Finally, you are not going to be playing the outfield. The White Sox, I feel like they've got to be the parent in this situation. But after Eloy's media session on Monday, I think things are muddy. Things are a little messy right now. Maybe due to a lack of depth and major league experience in the outfield, maybe Eloy Jiménez is the best option. But that's just because the bar is so low. I think Eloy's message earlier in the offseason about doing whatever's best for the team should have been the message, he went with on Monday. He was on a mission on Monday to really get his intentions across. And he repeated the same things over and over in all the different articles that were available. And there were a lot of articles. And of course, the video clips, when he was speaking to the media, if he would have just repeated, hey, look, whatever's best for this team, we want to win. We've got a window. We want to take advantage. If being the DH is what's best for the team, then I'm all for it. He has talked about the importance of staying healthy and how a healthy Eloy Jiménez is good for the ball club. Well, that means you're going to have to be the DH. Hey, I love his passion. Absolutely love his passion, and I appreciate, his desire to really prove everybody wrong. Now, if Eloy Jiménez does become the right fielder of choice, and that's what happens in spring training, between Oscar Colas and Gavin Sheets, I guess Lurie Garcia out there, and now Eloy Jiménez, who is really throwing his hat in the ring, and he wants this. He absolutely wants it, and he's been working at it. Then what happens to DH? And to part of the original question, does that become a platoon? I could see maybe Yasmani Grandal being featured quite a bit then in the DH spot because his health is in question with his knees behind the plate. And then you've got Gavin Sheets, of course, that can platoon. Since the shift is banned, I do think Yasmani Grandal and Gavin Sheets will see an uptick in offensive numbers. And then you have to wonder about Oscar Colas. Wasn't he supposed to be the future right fielder? But maybe that's exactly it. Colas is best thought of in regards to the future. There is a lot to figure out in this situation. Things I thought were going to be a little clearer when Andrew Benintendi was signed, and the Sox made this big push. I feel like publicly for Oscar Colas, and their love for Gavin Sheets is well documented. And now you've got the Eloy Jiménez thing, and I hopefully maybe Pedro Grifol talks to him and said, I appreciate what you said in your media session, but this is what we plan for you. This is how you can help this team. We need you healthy. We're both on the same page with that. We believe that by DHing, that's where we're going to get the most out of you. So the White Sox released a hype video recently on their social media platforms. I'm going to tell you why it might be more bark than bite. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We're excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sports book in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/locked on. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. I was just looking at this weekend's NFC AFC championship, and right now, FanDuel has the over-under for the Cincy Kansas City game at 47.5. I like the over in that, and the over-under in the San Fran Philly game is 45.5. Liking the under there. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use, so football fans don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So another question came in with the mailbag here from Quinn, more of a comment, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. We know the lineup is incomplete, but the White Sox are trying to sell to the fans the second-tier player trying to have a career year. We can stomach a platoon at one position, but right field, second base, and pitching sounds like a lot. And it sounds like putting lipstick on a pig. I'm with you there on Quinn, with you, Quinn. Appreciate the comments there at lockedonsox@gmail.com. And it got me thinking about, this hype video that was just blasted out to the social media platforms by the White Sox on Monday as they're promoting single game tickets going on sale. February 2nd, Groundhog Day. It wasn't a very long video. Featured Oscar Colas, featured Romy Gonzalez, maybe that second-tier player that's really trying to have a career year all of a sudden. Luis Robert, Yasmani Grandal, Dylan Cease, some sound bites from each of them, and some video mashed together. So what are your thoughts on the White Sox hype video? I'm sure you talked about it with other Sox fans in your life, saw a lot on White Sox Twitter. Something that struck me even before the Mike Clevinger stuff came out was this final soundbite from Pedro Grifol himself. We're going to earn your trust. And that was kind of the theme. Last season was a disappointment. We all know it. Last season can't happen again. We're working hard to be better. Almost we want you back as fans. Buy into what we're trying to sell to you. We're sorry That was a mistake. Last year didn't work out, and we're ready, to earn back your trust. Remember that phrasing. It'll come up again later in this episode. So, hearing about Romy Gonzalez being the strongest he's ever been and ready to do everything in his power to win the second base position, it doesn't get me terribly excited, but that's what the marketing department has to work with. The public relations folks, they're probably wondering to themselves, how are we going to sell this off season to fans so they will buy tickets, so they will invest their time and money this coming season? Even if you're not buying tickets, why are you watching this team? After what has happened in 2022 and the disappointing off season, it really was an off season that looked similar to previous off seasons, a failure to properly address all the needs. Lipstick on a pig is, I think, a good phrasing. I want to go to spring training optimistic despite the realities, but just because I'm trying to stay positive doesn't mean I'm ready, to buy extra tickets and go all in financially after seeing Luis Robert lifting weights in a video. Talk is cheap. We've been hearing a lot of talk for several years now. The offseason has not done enough to maximize their competitive window or win back fans that left after the embarrassment of 2022. It's a tough sell, but I hope Grifol gets this team on the right path from the beginning. They buy into his way of doing things. And if everything goes well, it'll be an exciting season down the stretch, but a big if, that's for sure. The addition of Mike Clevinger to the starting rotation was met with many question marks when the White Sox signed him so early in the offseason. After the recent allegations, I'm going to tell you why it's becoming more difficult for the White Sox to earn back their fans' trust. More on that in a moment. So I wanted to focus a little bit of this episode on Michael Kopech, and there's some really great articles out there that I've read recently on, just where he's at in his process, and so much is more available, I think, to folks like James Fegan and others that write about the White Sox in the off season, because there has been no lockout. And Ethan Katz can talk to pitchers and request video and see what they're working on. There's much more communication, and of course players can open up and discuss what their plan has been and whether it's recovery or, in Dylan Cease's case, look, I'm just trying to fine tune a couple things heading into 2023, but we'll talk Kopech, in the next episode, because this Mike Clevinger news has really taken precedence. So you might have heard about it. You might have read about it. A lot of things, a lot of moving parts. There's no finality to this right now. We're just hearing about it as of Tuesday afternoon. But there was an Athletic article that came out right away by Brittany Gorley and Katie Strang. And in the Athletic, and this is what this article had to say, the Chicago White Sox pitcher Mike Clevinger is under investigation by Major League Baseball following allegations of domestic violence involving the mother of his 10-month-old daughter and child abuse. Olivia Feinstead, the 24-year-old mother of Clevinger's child, told The Athletic on Tuesday that she has been in contact with individuals from MLB's Department of Investigations since this summer. According to Feinstead, she has detailed to those investigators incidents of physical, verbal, and emotional abuse, including an incident from last June in which Feinstead said Clevinger choked her, and another about 2 weeks later when she said Clevinger slapped her in a hotel room when the team was playing the Dodgers and threw used chewing tobacco on their child. Feinstead, who agreed to be named in this story, first publicly disclosed the allegations in an Instagram story early Tuesday. And that was, this is from her Instagram post. I hope The MLB does what they should and puts him in required therapy, maybe even a small suspension, so he can take time out to really think about why he abuses his kids and their mothers. That was from the story from the Athletic Post. The White Sox said they were not aware of these allegations when they signed Clevinger. Major League Baseball and the Chicago White Sox take any and all allegations very seriously, and the White Sox are completely supportive of the joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy shared by the MLB and the MLBPA. The team said in a statement issued to The Athletic. MLB opened an investigation after learning of these allegations. The White Sox were not aware of the allegations or the investigation at the time of the signing. The White Sox will refrain from comment until MLB's investigative process has reached its conclusion. So this is open-ended, but after that hype video came out, literally the day after, it was already a difficult offseason. It's been a difficult couple years, and now public relations and the PR team, they've got to go to work in a major way. I feel like it is, just a nonstop Watergate investigation with this franchise over and over the last few years. What did the White Sox know, and when did they know it? I thought things were bad, when TLR was hired and the DUI stuff came out. Now the Sox have to do damage control one day after releasing a hype video about the upcoming season. We're going to earn your trust. That just became more difficult. Folks, really appreciate you making time for this podcast, making it part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We're on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get your questions in now for next week's mailbag. You can email those at lockedonsox@gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. I'll make your second listen the Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on the next episode, I'll continue to examine off-season scenarios as we count down to spring training. Really appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski, and until next time, go Sox.